just when I didn't think things could get any worse, right? Um, we're almost done with the Biden-Harris administration, and yet Biden, in his infinite big brain wisdom, is now discussing high-level meetings about launching potential attacks on Iranian nuclear sites. All right. Now, why is this? Now, White House reportedly discussed potential U.S. military strikes before President-elect Donald Trump takes office. Why would you do this? Who's allowing this to happen? Are there adults in the room? Is there anyone keeping an eye on this man? Who has access to the nuclear football? Okay, the football. Who has it? Now, listen. Maybe this story might give you anxiety, and I'm sorry, but I don't want to be vaporized by nuclear fire. I just don't want to wake up one morning. I'm sipping some coffee. I look into the sky and there's a big missile landing, and mushroom cloud in the sky, and wall of fire, and oops, I'm vaporized. Don't worry, if I see all you there, I'm gonna be like, hey, they got you too? Apparently so. But here's the case. Here's the case being reported from Axios itself. U.S. President Joe 30330 held a high-level meeting several weeks ago to discuss potential military action against Iranian nuclear facilities, according to multiple sources cited by Axios. The discussions were reportedly part of contingency plans for scenarios in which Iran moves closer to developing nuclear weapons before Biden leaves office on January 20th, or either that, create a mass amount of political instability in the Middle East, thus in turn intensifying the already ongoing conflicts that Israel's engaged in, such as the crisis and genocide in Gaza. You have the quote-unquote greatest ceasefire ever in Lebanon. And then, there was a coup over there in Syria. Massive instability right there. Nothing could go wrong. And just add a little cherry on top. Maybe instigate further conflict between Israel and Iran. What could possibly go wrong? Say it with me, folks. What could possibly go wrong? National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan presented various options to Biden during the meeting, but the president has not authorized any action, thank God, and no active discussions on military strikes are currently underway, the sources added. Probably because he just doesn't know where he's at. He probably thinks the Korean War is still going on. A U.S. official speaking anonymously clarified that the meeting was not prompted by new intelligence, but was aiming at assessing prudent scenario planning. Prudent scenario planning. So what perfect way to have a prudent scenario planning by having another person come into office and in turn planning some instability. See how we continue these ongoing wars? Doesn't matter who sits in the White House, Democrat or Republican. The system plays the same tune. And to quote Joe Biden, nothing will fundamentally change. And again, this has to deal with if Iran gets enriched uranium weapon grade levels. So there you go. Biden advisors discussed whether the situation in the Middle East justified an intervention or gave Biden an imperative or an opportunity to strike, Axios wrote. Despite some internal arguments favoring a swift attack while Iranian defense's regional influence are weakened, no recommendation was made, according to the U.S. official. Can we not have World War III? Can we not have World War III? That'd be nice. Israel also reportedly believes that Iran is isolated following the ousting of Syria's Bashir Assad, and that its main ally in the region, Hezbollah, has been significantly weakened by the recent IDF offensive. This could push Iran to accelerate its nuclear program, creating a window opportunity for an Israeli preventive strike, according to the Times of Israel. By the way, folks, why would I not be surprised as soon as Trump gets in office, Netanyahu is going to speak before Congress again? I'm not going to be surprised by that, but don't worry. Pretend to be shocked. Put on your shocked face. Learn how to put on your shocked face. On Thursday, the Iranian government reiterated its position of pursuing peaceful nuclear energy while remaining open to negotiations as long as Tehran is treated with respect, according to the foreign minister. The foreign minister warned that sanctions would not work with Iran, referring in particular to maximum pressure policy employed by the U.S. during Donald Trump's first term. The more they impose sanctions and pressure Iran, the more Iran will show resistance, calling on all Western nations to treat his country with respect. If they opt to fair, just, and dignified negotiations and speak with the language of respect, we will respond in kind. Iran has long denied having ambitions to develop nuclear weapons, maintained that its nuclear activities only serve civilian purposes. In 2015, the country reached a nuclear deal with major world powers known as a Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, which limited Iran's nuclear program in exchange for partial sanctions relief. In 2018, however, the U.S. unilaterally withdrew from the agreement under Trump. Since then, Iran has stepped up its enrichment capabilities, and efforts to revive the deal have thus far failed. Last month, the head of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Rafael Grossi, stated that Iran has dramatically accelerated its uranium enrichment to up to 60% purity, calling this development very concerning. Have we not talked about how Biden's brain is failing? Why are we having these in-depth, heavy discussions with somebody who is clearly cognitively not there? Since day one, this White House, everyone who's part of the Biden-Harris administration, lifted up Olympus to cover up the fact that Biden was senile, that he was losing his ability to be a critical thinker. Hell, he didn't even have it. We covered the Democratic primaries in 2019 and throughout all of 2020. Harlan's media talked about it. We all saw it. Jimmy Dore talked about it. He's got a treasure trove of jokes about it. And throughout the entire 4 years, INN, Due Dissidents, RBN, everybody talked about it. Everybody knew about it. You, my audience, has seen firsthand how Biden is stuttering and stammering all over the place. And yet now there's discussions of potential attack on Iran. Why? Who is greenlighting this? And again, when you look at all the current events that are taking place, all the things that are happening that are shaking up the foundations of our government and as well as people's own mental health, especially with what happened on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, it's almost as if this is being designed to prepare the people for ongoing conflicts. Throughout of 2023, the last months of 2023, and then going throughout all of 2024, and now walking into 2025, war is on the menu. War is the main choice. War is going to be the thing that people are going to be paying for because war is good for business in Washington, D.C. Everybody knows it. All the Democratic and Republican U.S. senators know about it. All the Democratic and Republican House representatives know about that. And yes, Democratic and Republican presidents know about that too. From good old Ronnie Boy Reagan, Bush Sr., Bill Clinton, Bush Jr., Obama, Trump's first term, old Joe Biden, and hey, Trump's second term again. They all know that war is good for business, and nothing's ever deviated off that pathway. And never forget why we're there in that region. Never forget why we are over there. It's because of money and resources. Now, all the other presidents have said freedom and democracy, but don't forget who gave away the big secret ingredient to the sauce. As it's been said before, all lies will be exposed.
All lies will be exposed.
And they should, because when asked why U.S. forces are in Syria, Trump said we're there for the resources. It's all about money. And yet Biden is now having these quote-unquote risk scenarios. It adds up. I'm not going to say it doesn't add up because it does add up. It's how you keep this machine going. And corporate media, you know what it's going to say in a potential scenario if there's any kind of military actions during Trump's first months in office? They're going to say, oh, how presidential does Trump look now? The war is ongoing. It doesn't matter who sits on the throne. It's one big club. You ain't in it.
And when you dream, you're by yourself. Don't know the streets where you'll find yourself. Go back to sleep, don't mind yourself. Both hands on your head. When you dream, you're by yourself. Don't know the streets where you'll find yourself. Go back to sleep, Don't mind yourself. Both hands on your head. Both hands on your head.
Money's talking while hunger prays. Bunch of Nazi-loving child fuckers run the state. 911 is on some 1-800-CIA. And plastic pundits pump your trust and fund your shallow graves. It is malice just for malice sakes. Congress houses wealthy corpses, breathing hexes, arming forces. Been spilling out 1 million greedy snakes from all their orifices. Coursing down the Congress floor, across the aisle, out the door to curse 1 million more before they've run their bloody courses. Clip your wings like Klippenstein, then out and burn your sources. God collapse at times is hard to witness, other times it's gorgeous. There's something satisfying in the act of watching something greedy choke upon the very thing on which it gorges. And there is something humbling, blooming in the thought that once the dust is settled, mine could be the hand that clears the moss and lights the torches. That mine could be the voice that wakes the very fucking orchids. Mine could be the words that stir the armies in the orchards. Then all the lowliest of roots, I'd be the one to call them forward. Let the very earth be witness first to see the fascists flail and flounder when they learn they're truly cornered. Once they learn the class war is boiled down to looters versus hoarders. Let the earth absorb their meager worth once they've been quartered. Laugh and say I only followed orders. Kinda like the guy who flew the drone that leveled doctors without borders. When all the classic Clinton morals launched a couple wars and off the books a dozen more. And so Congress opened up the store and moved 250,000 mortars. And bombed the legions out of those who wouldn't kneel before us. And now the stage is set and we're the starving chorus. Who hunger not for justice but those leaders that ignored us. Who hunger not for justice but those leaders that ignored us.
Go back to sleep. Don't mind yourself. Let what you've seen rewind itself. And when you dream, you bind yourself. Both hands on